Welcome back to Going Walkabout. We left Malta over 10 days ago to come to Palermo, Sicily. Palermo is a vibrant city, teeming with old neighborhoods, beautiful food, historic buildings, all centered on a bay encircled by mountains. We decided we wanted to take a break from being a tourist and live like local folks, so we got an Airbnb west of the bay and the historical district to take in the Vita Naturale. In this video, we'll go over a brief history of Sicily and Palermo, then we'll dive into the pros and cons of the city. Andiamo! Sicily, being in the shape of a triangle, adopted the three legs you see in the flag from the Greek myth about the Triskelion, who were sea nymphs. They are said to have danced all around the world, gathering the best fruit, stones, and soil, which they threw into the sea to create Sicily. The face in the center is the Medusa, the protectress of Sicily. The island has been home to many races, dating back to 6000 BC. There were Greeks, Romans, Spaniards, Austrians, just to name a few. The result of so many cultures and their influences on society affected the Sicilian language, which, by the way, is older than Italian language. In fact, they believe the Italians based their language on Sicilian, not the other way around. Palermo was founded in 734 BC by Phoenicians. The city boasts one of the oldest universities in Europe, which has been teaching medicine and law since the 15th century. With a population of over 850,000 at current time, it's a bustling city, not known as much for being a tourist destination. Palermo became center stage in world news in 1992 when two of its famous inhabitants were killed by the mafia. Falcone and Borsellino were two lawyers who were devoted to the struggle against the Cosa Nostra, aka the mafia. They were savagely killed by bombs. There is a wall painted in the marina to honor them. So, now you know a bit about Sicily and a bit about Palermo. Let's jump into the pros and cons of this vibrant city. Starting at number 1 is the food. The best place to buy food, look at food, or smell food is the Capo Mercato. Possibly one of the best open markets I have ever seen. We could have watched the fish guy all day long. Both Kiwi and I couldn't believe the size of the tuna he was cutting up. That's serious old man in the sea caliber. The market sells fruit, veg, and stalls have local olive oil and herbs. We even bought some Sicilian zucchini. These are things that look like green beans on steroids and can only be found in Sicily. Once cooked, they were absolutely delicious. At number 2, we have iconic buildings like Palermo Cathedral. Built between the 16th and 18th century, you can take a stairway to a catwalk at the top and view the city. Then there's the Teatro Massimo Opera House, the third largest opera house in Europe, built in 1897. The site of many famous performances, including this scene from the movie The Godfather on its front steps. Via Roma is the main walking street in Palermo. There are cafes and shops. While strolling, I fell in love with these bowls. However, with no home to put them in, I had to be talked out of buying them. Via Roma intersects with the Quattro Conti, built in the 16th century. The Quattro Conti is the most scenic four corners I have ever seen. No wonder that the night before they had thrown some sand on this street to do some filming of a new movie, I suspect, including the Piazza Pretoria, which is adjacent to the Quattro Conti. Number 3, the bakeries. The Italians pride themselves on their baked goods. You don't need to take my word for how delicious the bread and the baked goods are. You can look at my scale. We have found it hard to say no to our daily trip to the bakery. You can see why. Just around the corner from our Airbnb is Schimone Pasticceria. I looked forward to my daily trip to peruse the baked goods and select Quattro Piccolo for Kiwi and I to have after dinner. I love the way they wrapped our pastries in lovely paper with a bow. Opening it after dinner becomes a highlight of our day. As they say, when in Rome, and in this case, when in Palermo. At number 4, we have the neighborhoods. Each neighborhood is its own universe with its own grocery store, fruit and veg stands, bakery, and each has their own personality. A big part of enjoying Palermo is exploring the different neighborhoods. Here we are at number 5. Palermo is a lot less expensive than Rome. Our Airbnb was about $92 a night. Our groceries came to about $120 for a week, and that's including alcohol. I couldn't find any Sicilian wine over 10 euros a bottle. So if you want to beat the crowds in Rome, try Palermo. Lots of history, great food, without so many tourists. Okay, now for the cons. There's only 4 of them, so hang in there till the end.
So we just got to our new Airbnb in Palermo.
Needless to say, the traffic sounds lasted all week. And that's a great segue into number 2. The noise was persistent day in and day out. However, I will say it never stopped us from getting a good night's sleep every night. The trash comes in at number 3. It's pretty noticeable. We could see that the tourist areas were a bit tidier. However, in our little neighborhood, there were trash piles everywhere. At number 4, we have sketchy transit. Let me clarify. As I said before, the island is like a giant triangle. It's actually the biggest island in the Mediterranean. The key areas to visit are Palermo, Syracuse, Catania, and Taormina. Unfortunately, there's no easy way to get from one side of the triangle to the other. There is a train, it only goes in certain areas. So when we landed in Catania from Malta, we had to take a bus to Calistantanita, then change to a train to Palermo. If you take day tours from one area like Taormina to Palermo or vice versa, you'll pay about $275 per person to do the trip by bus. So think strategically before you plan your trip to Sicily, as getting around requires a lot of travel. I will say our bus/train ride through the center of the island was beautiful. We thought we'd rent a car to see more of the island. However, after seeing the folks driving around town and the traffic, we decided to stay put in Palermo for 2 weeks. We ended up loving our neighborhood. Sitting on our balcony watching the hustle and bustle below was a daily treat. Palermo is a fantastic place to explore, people watch, and live la vita naturale. We hope you've enjoyed our video on Palermo. If you are enjoying the video, please give us a thumbs up, or better yet, subscribe. Next stop, Tunisia.